Once employed by the British police force to urgently transport human organs for transplant patients, the Rover SD1 Vitesse was quite literally driven like someone's life depended on it. However, today, it's being put to the test for slightly different reasons. As picked by Circuit Thermalito Kickstarter backer Rangey, this is a car that holds quite a special place for him, not just because it's a Rover, but because his dad actually did several of these police runs back in the day, one time delivering a heart from Doncaster Royal to Sheffield General Hospital in less than 15 minutes. Now today I have double that time to set my best lap around Circuit Thermalito, before handing over to you guys on the 24/7 Hot Lap server hosted by Just Race. Link for that is down in the video description, along with links to the car and the track. Now before we get into the car itself, I urge you to go off topic and check out this video I'm putting up on top of the screen right now. It's a little documentary about something called the liver run, which I mentioned briefly in the intro. Now in the early days of organ transplants in the UK, before modern science and people really knew what they were doing and, you know, the expected lifespans of all these, you know, transplanted organs that were in the middle of being transported, the police were involved. The police were responsible for the delivery of these organs urgently to hospitals. The Metropolitan Police in the 1980s had access to this vehicle, the Rover SD1 Vitesse, full with lights and sirens, road closures, the works. I mean, it's incredible when you think about it compared to what happens today, but yeah, back in the day, this was a huge thing. Anyway, enough off topic, let's talk about the actual car itself in terms of its performance and its leaderboard capabilities. Just over 200 horsepower and just over 1500 kilos in weight. Manual 5-speed gearbox, although to be honest you never really use 5th gear at Circuit Thermalito because there isn't a straight long enough to get that power down. If you could, theoretically you could reach about 270 kilometers an hour, but realistically around here the most you're going to reach is about 170 kilometers an hour. I mean, it's still fast enough for a street car from the 1980s, because don't forget, this is a street car. This isn't a racing car. This isn't the 80cc version that you can see floating around on some mods, the Group A's, where the Rover SD1 Vitesse is featured. No, this is the street car. Complete with street tyres as well, I'd like to add. There are soft and medium tyre compounds available in the car setup options, and to be honest, that's what you're going to want to use when you set your fast laps around here. But from my limited practice so far, the half-an-hour session that I've done to set my best time, which you guys are going to see shortly thanks to the magic of editing, they do wear out incredibly quickly. The rear right, I found, was burning itself up in the terms of like down to 60-50% after 5 laps, so you don't get much help a set of soft tyres in this Rover. And also with it being a street car, that also means street suspension, so incredibly soft and lots of roll throughout the corners. Very lazy car to respond mid-corner, but it does mean you can absolutely eat the curbs up. So that first chicane is just a mere suggestion, those curbs. You can straight line it as much as you want. Now, considering it as a car from 1984, it's actually quite advanced electronically. It's quite kitted out. It does have ABS and traction control, but you're going to want to turn the traction control off because it just makes the car bog down so much, especially on the slower speed corners. It's going to kill your exits and cost you several seconds a lap, and that is not an exaggeration. The TC is quite severe in this. It is going to kick in quite heavily, although you do want to keep the ABS turned on because it's super stable on the braking zones. It helps you slow down for the corners so much, and this car feels like it does slow down incredibly well, although that's probably to do with the fact it's not going that fast in the first place. But yeah, on the corner entry, brake late, early downshifts, and kind of manage the weight into the corner as best you can. The reason I say early downshifts is because it's a street gearbox as well, and the gears are quite long. You're only going to use second, third, and fourth. Maybe you're going to use first at the Naumann hairpin and the power loop, which are definitely the two slowest corners on the track. But it means that when you do shift down late, because you don't want to be over revving it on downshift, because it's very easy to damage the engine in this. If you over rev it, then you will be getting a lunched engine. I can guarantee you. Don't ask me how I know. But when you are turning into these corners, the weight on the rear, especially as you get close to the apex on heavy brakes, tends to kick the back out. And take, for example, this corner coming up, the infamous turn 8 hole corner. You can just get heavy on the brakes and turn it in. But look, out comes the rear like that. It snaps on you. And you're going to be losing all the momentum down through the exit of the tunnel. You don't want to do that. You want to try and maintain that momentum as much as possible. So just nice and smooth on the corner exits. There's a lot of elevation change here at Circuit Thermalito, as I'm sure you're probably all familiar with right now. And that really does upset the weight of the car. It's not the fastest car in the world, and you do have to think about all the time you spend on the straights, because it might feel good in the corners, but on the straights, yeah, that engine really does struggle to boost the car up into the top speeds that you're used to from high performance racing cars. And any advantage you can get coming out of a corner, you're going to carry all the way down that straight. Now, there's not many straights here at Thermalito, but it is going to make a huge difference. Several seconds, so all about the momentum. Turn the TC off, don't forget your soft tyres, and then you're good to go. It does feel slow, and is it going to beat the Mini? I don't know. It feels slower than the Mini, to be honest with you. The Mini felt like a high performance race car in comparison to this, but often slow feels fast. So I think it's time to find out what this Rover can do. And don't forget, if you are a DDF Racer channel member, you can see my full unedited 30-minute run. Time for some lights and sirens. Heading towards the start-finish line here at Circuit Thermalito. That sounds awesome. Heading towards Eagle Cut Junction, turns 1 and 2. Late on the brakes, nose dips straight over the curbs as if they don't even exist. We ain't got time for no track limits today. Up to the barrier at turn 2 and rather slowly up the Damo straight, heading towards Davenport, turn 3. Really see the suspension there, just so soft. Back left wheel up in the air through the rainy curves. Again, slight tap of the curb, bit of a wobble, and onto the top of Mokang Drive. It's not got the best top speed along the straights, but it definitely seems to be going through the corners at a rate of knots. Keep it in 4th gear through Hall Corner. Nice and steady, pushing wide, using lots of curb on the inside, all the way to the left. Super late on the brakes. Get the car pointing in, a little bit of dirt kicked up on the inside. Nice and close to the barriers on the inside of the MJSs there, pushed a bit wide over the top though. That's probably going to cost a bit of speed all the way down the sticky straight, heading towards the Hunter Loop. Lights flashing in the cockpit there. Down into 2nd gear, back of the car kicking out ever so slightly, wheels up in the air, massive amounts of wheel spin there from the police car. Is it fast though? Probably not. Anytime you slide in this car, you kill the momentum. And the momentum is such an important thing you've got to keep. Heading towards Binsbergen Corner, again, nose dipping heavy under the braking. Right to the inside, much too much of a commitment though, that's sliding all over the place. Very scruffy into the 2nd tunnel, carrying lots of speed here through Chicane Munds, running super wide through Brody Bend, although nice and back to the right-hand side of the track. Braking in a straight line for the power loop now, nose dipping once more. Down to 1st gear, the only time you get down to 1st gear on the track. Trying to get some kind of drive, some kind of power up the hill. Traction control off, so that definitely helps, but it still takes a while to accelerate. But we are here at the Naumann corner now. Oh, big slide. Lots of corrections on the wheel. And that, again, is just going to bleed away the time. It's quite a scruffy lap, this one. Through Naptic and Fielders. That curb's not an issue. Straight over the top. And braking for the final corner. Bergen Bend. Again, use all the curb like it's not even there. This Rover just doesn't seem to be bothered by that at all. It can just eat up the track. And heading towards the line. That did look quite slow, to be fair, so not quite sure if this patient's going to make it. Normally at this point of the video I would go through the results from the previous challenge and show you who convincingly beat my time, but as of recording this, because I am doing this a little bit in advance, the challenge is still actually live. When you watch the video, obviously the challenge will be over, but right now with me recording this, it's still ongoing. So I don't have the final results to show you, but rather conveniently, no one has beat my time yet, so that 143.7 in the IndyCar still stands. However, as for the Rover, you all want to know, did it beat the Mini? Well, I can confirm that it did a 2 minutes 35.769, which doesn't beat the Mini on the leaderboard. However, that time is set by me, and the Mini is set by Matt Webb, so I've got no doubt that once a few of you aliens start to set some times in the Rover SD1 Police Vitesse, then it's going to be pretty close, actually, to be honest, who's going to be at the bottom of the board. So go and have your best shot at it. The 24/7 Hot Lap server hosted by Just Race is now live, link down in the video description, along with links to Circuit Thermalito and the car itself, which, again, I cannot thank Rangey enough for suggesting this. What an awesome car to drive. I had so much fun. Don't forget to map a button for your lights and sirens. That will get you an extra few tenths. Anyway, everybody, good luck and enjoy the challenge. Bye-bye.